Dum 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 dum. Let's talk Star Wars. Hey guys, my name is Troysher and I am here with my Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker review with spoilers. Star Wars Episode 9 is out. I went to watch it last night with my friends and my sister, and I want to talk all things about it. I want to do it with spoilers because this is the end of the new trilogy. So let's look into the things that I have to say about this movie. I'm just gonna say it right at the beginning. I absolutely loved this movie, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. There is one flaw that I might talk about. Let's just get it out of the way. The healing process that Rey uses with that snake, and she heals the snake and then she uses to revive or to heal Kylo Ren or Ben Solo, and then he uses it on her to revive her. So that wasn't like explained how she understood that she could do that. So that's one flaw that I can think of that I remember. Why is she doing this to this snake if she hasn't been seen doing it before? Did she just learn it now? When did she learn it? So that's one thing. But let's look into the positives, and there are a lot. Starting with C-3PO, I think out of all the droids in this movie, and every single one of them, apart from R2-D2, he didn't have like the funny moments he usually gets, but all the other ones had, and C-3PO was the best droid in this movie. He stole the show when it came to comedy in this movie, and we all know these movies, these action-driven movies, they try to have some comedy here and there and to spice things up, and C-3PO was the right way to do it in this movie. Absolutely nailed it. I'm not gonna go through every single moment he had, but just not only what he said, but physical comedy as well, with him running behind everyone, and when everyone was looking at him and he looked back too, like just comedy all around. Absolutely loved C-3PO in this movie. Then there's the main villain, Palpatine. For all intents and purposes, he was dead since we last saw him being thrown by Darth Vader into the abyss. I think they found a way to bring him back that actually made sense, and I love that he is the overall villain, because we have kind of seen that Kylo Ren isn't a Darth Vader type of villain. He's trying to be Darth Vader, but he's not, and we kind of saw him beginning his redemption in the last movie. We all knew that someone big other than Snoke needed to come and be the main villain, and Palpatine just made sense. Then there's the whole Ben Solo's redemption story. I digged it. I absolutely digged it. We knew it was coming, and I think they did it right. And I'm not gonna talk about a certain moment that is a part of this redemption story, because that scene I'm gonna talk about in one of my next points. But again, just his redemption story all around, I digged it. So my next point is characters' appearances. We heard Yoda's voice, we got to see Han Solo, we got to see Leia, both as young Leia and old Leia, and we got to see Luke Skywalker again, young form and old form. Also Lando, what's his second name? Calrissian? Lando, okay, Lando. It was so awesome to see him back. I want to talk here about the scene that I mentioned just a few moments ago with Ben Solo's redemption story, which was the scene with him and his dad Han Solo, and how I noticed, and I'm sure many of you did as well, that the lines in that sequence when they were talking were the same ones from when they were talking back in, was it episode 7 or 8? 7? That Han Solo was killed by by Kylo Ren. So exact same dialogue, I believe. I haven't gone back to see that Han Solo's death scene to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was the exact same dialogue. Just instead of Kylo Ren killing his dad, he grabs the lightsaber and just throws it away. I think it was the perfect scene to complete his redemption arc. So I also want to mention, and I haven't talked about Rey, and she's obviously one of the main characters in this. She is the main protagonist. But there's also Poe and Finn, and I think those two really complemented Rey's story, and I liked how their whole dynamic worked out. I liked their individual stories. I liked those two as a tag team being generals after Leia's gone, and I think the actors did an amazing job with these characters once again. And I also want to talk about the scene when they are in Exegol, or whatever that unknown planet was called, in the final battle, and all the ships from everyone who's here to support the rebellion, they arrive, and we finally see, and that's like, I believe, the first moment the music, the epic Star Wars light side, good side music kicks in, and I loved when the music kicked in, and to me, seeing the dimension of how many ships were arriving, it just showed me what we have been seeing through all these movies, which is the rebellion growing. And I believe every time the rebellion has fought the Empire or the First Order or the Final Order or whatever, good guys versus bad guys, there were always a lot of bad guys and just a few good guys. And I believe this was the first time we had like a proper same good guys as bad guys battle. Kind of. Maybe the numbers aren't quite there, but this was the first time we got to see a huge rebellion army versus the Final Order army. And it showed how through all these movies the rebellion was growing, even though we didn't get to see it in the battles. And my last point, and I know I haven't talked about a lot about Rey, but what is it that we can say about Rey? The actress did an amazing job. The character had a solid arc within these 3 movies. Revealing she was a Palpatine wasn't something that I had assumed. You know, I always assumed that there was something behind her story. She was gonna be revealed to be from a big family, from an important family. I kind of thought she would be a Skywalker, which she kind of is. I'll talk about that in a second. But she is a Palpatine, and I dig that. I dig the way they did it, revealing she is Palpatine's granddaughter, and all the arc with she possibly going bad. But my last point to make here is the throwbacks to previous movies, and there were a lot of them. I have some here written out. So we got to see young Skywalkers with Luke and Leia fighting, and the CGI looked pretty good, showing them as young kids or young adults fighting back in the day in training. Love that scene. Then there's also the Han Solo and Ben scene that I've talked about. Obviously Luke back as a vision for Rey, and for us to go back to that island where he was training her in the beginning of the last movie. Seeing him use his powers to bring back his X-Wing from underwater, and to see the X-Wing back. We just got to see so many just throwback moments to the past. Lando back with Chewie in the Falcon. We got to see a few of the other movies mentioned. I believe they said Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine said to Rey. I believe they said Return of the Jedi or something along those lines. And to end it off, that double sunset scene, that iconic scene from the first movie with Luke seeing the double sunset, and now we got to see Rey in that place. What an awesome way to end this movie. I was watching that scene and I just was saying to myself, please end the movie now, end the movie now. And then the movie ended and I was so glad that was the last scene. That's it, I'ma stop rambling. Just one quick thing. I would have loved if when she died and Kylo revived her and then he died, or sorry, Ben, because at that point he was already Ben. If she had passed his life to him and he came back and then they just ping-ponged it. I wanted to see that just 3 or 4 times. I'm kidding. Okay guys, I'ma stop rambling again, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. Comment down below what is your favorite movie from this trilogy, from the whole Star Wars movies. I forgot to give a rating. To me, this movie has a closing of the 9 movies arc, and I haven't seen the prequels yet, but as a closing of this trilogy, I think it's a 10 out of 10 in terms of closing the saga. It's like a 9 out of 10 to me in terms of just an all-around movie, because of the references, because of all of that. I think this was the best movie of this trilogy, this new trilogy. Not the best all around, maybe Empire Strikes Back is still my favorite, or The Return of the Jedi. I can't make up my mind and I don't need to. But again, as a closing story, this to me was perfect, was the perfect way to end it all. And there we go, subscribe to this channel. If you're new around here, go and check my gaming channel in the description below. And for now, my name's Trosher, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys! May the Force be with you.